Hey guys, we're going to try something a little different tonight. Enjoy the episode, episode 69 of The Life of Pi.
Alright, quiet on the set.
Camera speed.
Sound production, take one. Roll sound. Sound production, take two.
And action.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of The Life of Pi with me, your host, P. Young. And if you're new to this podcast, this is a podcast about television and movies. So, we are jumping back into our finale of Tokyo Vice, Season 1, Episode 8. And right off the bat, guys, I will apologize in advance. I've had some technical issues, so I haven't gotten to make my usual notes, so I'm kind of shooting from the hip here a little bit, so this one may be shorter than others. I do apologize, because I wish I was able to rewatch the episode, but technical issues nonetheless. We're going to try and give this a go and make the best of it. Episode 8, from what I remember, there's a lot that happens. Yeah, there's a lot that happens and a lot of unanswered questions, but we start with Sam waking up. Sato is left to know that he's going to try and track down Paulina. Miyamoto, he ends up getting a visit from Katagiri. Of course, Katagiri lets him know, he's like, dude, I got video footage of you. And as we remember from last episode, he's got video footage of Miyamoto in the evidence room trying to look at evidence that they have against Tozawa. So now Katagiri knows that Miyamoto is basically a mole and he's basically screwed. So, we still have Paulina missing. She's missing from last episode. Jake's like, yo, maybe we should call the cops. And Sam's like, she really doesn't. Sam's like, the cops aren't going to do anything. They don't really care because, of what she does for a living and whatnot. And then we kind of flip over, and then we have Tozawa. He's injecting him. He's getting another injection. And, of course, him and Masika they're fighting about Jake. Again, as we remember from last episode, Jake was found at the club with Masika, who is Tozawa's girl, and with his buddy, and Jake's buddy almost gets stabbed by the gangsters, and it's a whole mess. She's basically like, look, Jake followed me to the club. There's nothing I can do about it, but Tozawa does not want to hear about it. Of course, Tozawa's like, you know what? If you're not careful, I will make him disappear and you will never see him again. So, of course, Masaki, there it is. Got the right name this time, guys. Masaki was like, you don't need to do that. It's not a big deal. So then we flip back over to Miyamoto and Katagiri. And Katagiri basically tells, Miyamoto tells Katagiri that he's like, look, I did what I had to do. I was doing really good when I first started, and then a lot of my leads just went away, and I had to go to Tozawa, basically to try kind of get a little bit of help, get my career back on track and stuff like that. And of course, he's telling up to Katagiri if he's gonna go, tell the bosses what he did, and of course, Katagiri's like, it's not really none of your business. So Katagiri will actually end up going to Tozawa on his own. And then we flip over again, guys. This is gonna be a little all over the place because I'm really just kind of shooting from the hips on little notes that I wrote down from what I remember watching this weeks ago. So, just stay with me. It's gonna be a little shaky. Again, I apologize. We have Jake going back to the junkie's house. As we remember from the junkie, aka the writer, Tozawa's personal publicist. Basically, he's a drug addict. Jake goes back there and brings Sam with him because, as we remember again from last episode, at the end of the episode, Sam is sitting on Jake's doorstep after fighting with Sato, and so she stayed at his place for the night, whatever. And I'm assuming this is just the next day. They're trying to get information about Tozawa and where Paulina might be. Well, actually, no, just where Paulina might be if Tozawa knows. And basically they offer to get him crystal meth. Yeah, they offer him crystal meth in exchange for information, basically. So Jake and Sam end up doing crystal meth with this crazy guy. Like, a lot of weird stuff happens. They put on masks and they're running around dancing. Jake's like seeing stuff because he does way too much, and obviously it's the first time he's used it, so he doesn't know what he's doing. And of course the writer tells him, that Paulina is on a sex cruise, and Sam's kind of more in it because she hasn't done all the crystal meth that Jake did. She's like, look, man, you're like a rookie, don't do this. And of course Jake's starting to freak out a little bit because he's seen all this crazy shit, and she's like, we gotta go, kind of thing. And then Jake decides the next scene it'd be a good idea to show up to work while he's high on crystal meth. And his boss, Amy, was like, you need to get out of here before someone realizes you are on drugs and you lose your job and get arrested. So Jake decides it's a good idea to show up to work high on crystal meth because he thinks he has information on where his missing friend, or where Sam's missing friend might be. Again, not the brightest of ideas. And so eventually we kind of flash forward a little bit. And we see that Sam has reached back out to Akira, which is Paulina's like the boyfriend, aka the asshole, like the pretty boy who works in like the guy hostess club. And basically he's like, yo, like these people reached out and like they need a bunch of money to save Paulina, and it's like they said they need, I think it's like 10 million yen or something like that, or they'll kill her. And so of course you have to automatically be suspicious that this guy wants this exact amount, and it's a little fishy. I didn't like it because like this guy, I would not give this guy a dime. I would not trust him with a penny of my money. He's a sleazebag, and all his friends are sleazebags. Sam has the money because, as we know, she's been saving up for the club. So she takes the money that she has, which is pretty much the entire. She takes all the money she has, which I think is almost the exact amount that she needs, and she agrees to meet with these people. She goes with I think she goes with Akira and Jake. I can't remember. She was with it's her and Akira and somebody else, and they agree to meet with these people to do the exchange. Automatically it's suspicious because these guys are late. They refuse to show her Paulina in the car. She's like, I'm not giving you the money until you show me Paulina so I know she's alive. So automatically they start arguing back and forth, and eventually Akira just kind of knocks her down and beats the shit out of her and takes the money, and we see that, and we find out like it's literally just him and his buddies, and they basically rob her and leave her on the ground. And so she just lost her money, and she just still doesn't know where Paulina's at. And then, of course, Jake gets back home after all this, and he gets the absolute shit kicked out of him by some of Tozawa's guys, who are basically there to send him a message like, look, you need to stay away from Masika, or we're going to kill you and make you disappear, and your family will never hear from you again. That's kind of where we leave Jake pretty much for this episode. Him just got the shit kicked out of him, and he calls his dad. His dad's like, and he hasn't talked to his dad in a long time, you can tell. They have a really scarred relationship, and he's beat the shit. He's talking to his dad on the phone about coming home, and his dad does offer to buy him a plane ticket home, and that's kind of, he never really agrees on anything. That's kind of where we leave it. Meanwhile, we have like Sam goes back to the bank. She's trying to get a loan to make her last payment to make the club officially open. Of course, all the banks are like, no, we're not loaning you any money. She ends up going to Oyabun, and who is the other he's the other Yakuza leader. So of course, he's gonna want a piece of her business to give her the money and help, because he's helping her set up business. He's gonna want a piece of it. Of course, Sato is not happy about this arrangement that Sam came to get the money. She basically like, look, you don't control me. I have to do what I have to do to get my business off the ground. And Sato's like, you don't understand. You take money from him, you're indebted to him forever. But at this point, Sam is so desperate that she's just trying to make this work. Katagiri, he meets up with Tozawa. And of course Miyamoto's nowhere to be found. He's in a car with Tozawa's men, and Tozawa's like, look, Tozawa's like, they talk. So Tozawa warns Kadgiri that, you need to leave all this stuff alone, or your wife or your family is going to be killed. Basically, I'm going to take them out. So Tozawa is now off limits for Kadgiri, and of course, we flip back over and Sato's telling Sam like the funds will be sent to her, and then after that, like, he gets stabbed several times in the street and like left for dead, bleeding in his car. Very gruesome. Not really gruesome, but it's a really odd way to leave it. Also, I kind of left out that we're basically shown that Miyamoto was murdered by Tozawa. He makes Tozawa disappear because Tozawa is basically like tells Miyamoto, you're gonna go to this airport or whatever, and you'll be taken care of, and all that. And so basically, he figures out that he's not going there, and basically Tozawa tells Kadgiri Miyamoto is no longer a problem. And again, it ends with Sato. The last scene is literally Sato being stabbed like 3 or 4 times outside of his car. You can't really see. You can tell it's a male, but you can't tell if it's a character we already know or not. And that's basically almost how the scene ends. And then, of course, Jake receives like a VHS tape also at the very end of the season. And so after Sato gets stabbed, we kind of flip over, and we see that Jake has received a VHS tape. I think it's in the mail or it's on his doorstep or something. It shows like a woman being sexually assaulted and then accidentally murdered. And of course, he goes to Kadgiri. He's like, "Yo, I need a second chance. This person's been murdered. We need to figure out who it is." And Kadgiri just goes, Make sure you're not followed." And that's how it ends. So, the end of this season, it did kind of bother me a little bit because it leaves you with so many questions like, where's Tozawa? Like, and Tozawa, I forgot to mention, he takes off on a plane, leaving Masika like on a runway, saying like, "I'm gonna be around a lot longer than you think." So he's on a plane going somewhere. Jake just got evidence of a tape of someone being sexually assaulted and murdered. Sato is bleeding in the street from stabbing. Sam has taken a loan from the Yakuza. Kadgiri, he can't touch Tozawa. Miyamoto's dead. Paulina's missing. Akiri stole all of her money. So there's all these things happening, and we have no idea if there's going to be a season 2. And that's the biggest thing. Like, nothing was wrapped up, and it's been a while. Like, there's been no talk of a season 2. We have no idea if there's going to be a season 2. So if there isn't, it's really going to kind of suck. It's going to leave so many open, unanswered questions. And it would just be a really terrible way, in my opinion, to leave a series ending like that. If it's just a mini-series, do it in 8 episodes, wrap it up in the 8th episode. That's all we ask. So, again, hopefully we get at least another season or a couple episodes, something. Like, we need to talk these storylines. Like, again, I know we have no control of it, obviously, as viewers, but it just sucks when something like this happens. Like, it's a great show, but like, there's just too many loose ends, in my opinion, to make this like it's a good show. Before it becomes a great show, you need to tie off everything, give the answers that everybody needs. Like, we need to know, like, is Sato dead? Does Sam ever open her club? What becomes of like the Yakuza and Tozawa and Kadgiri and Jake? Like, there's so many open-ended questions. Again, this is all based loosely off a book that Jake Alstein wrote, and it's called Tokyo Vice. So I'm gonna look into trying to actually buy the book and read it here, hopefully in the next month or so. So again, I'm really hoping that we can maybe get a second season. If not, then it was a fun ride either way. And so again, that's all I got for you guys tonight. So that's the end of our Tokyo Vice wrap up. The next few things I'll kind of get into here before I get off here for the night is I'm going to look to be having Alex back on, and also going to try to have my buddy Marcus on so we can finish up our Stranger Things Season 4 wrap up. Again, it's been out for a couple of weeks now. I know a lot of you guys have seen it, but I want to get on here and talk to these guys about it because they're both, like, Alex is a big nerd like I am. Marcus, he really likes like the nerdy kind of stuff like I do. He's very knowledgeable. Both guys are very knowledgeable. So I'm hoping to have them both on very soon to hopefully knock that one out. And then again, I'm going to be having my buddy Matt on here pretty soon. He's actually going to be like kind of co-hosting and starring the next couple episodes after we get done with Stranger Things, because we're actually going to be talking about Maverick. We're going to be kind of reviewing that and going over. We're both huge Top Gun fans, huge fans of the movie Maverick. He's also going to be joining me for The Terminal List, which is the new Amazon show. It's starring Chris Pratt and Taylor Kitsch. I know I'm butchering his name. The main character from John Carter. I can't pronounce his last name. So it's on Amazon Prime right now. And then I'm also gonna try and find someone to join me to talk about Only Murders in the Building. And then after we wrap up that, I'm looking to get Becky and maybe Gareth back on here. We're gonna do some more some more of the Hitchcock Files, and also have some interviews lined up. So lots of exciting stuff happening. So again, be sure to keep follow me on the social medias. I'm having all kinds of fun stuff we're starting to do on there. Me and Matt are actually going to be doing here the next week or two. One of these coming weekends, we're actually going to do a Mission Impossible-a-thon. And so we're going to watch all, I think 6 or 7, however many they have right now. I think it's 6. We're going to watch them all in one day. And we're going to make little videos in between, giving you updates of the movies, if we're going nuts or not, and kind of stuff. So kind of look out for that. I'll be putting them on YouTube and Instagram and Twitter and stuff like that. And again, if you guys need to reach out to me, please feel free. I am on all social media platforms. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. All just look up for Life of Pi, the bright blue background with the clapping board. And if you don't reach out there, you can also reach me at my email address, which is lifeofpycontent@gmail.com. So again, feel free to reach out if you want to come on and be a guest, or you want me to cover something. Again, reach out. I'm a friendly guy. I will talk to anyone. I will watch pretty much anything. Hope you guys all enjoyed this. Again, we will talk to you all next time. And as always, I hope you enjoyed your slice of pie.